Good evening and dan salam sejahtera. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Eng Ubang from Mary Learning Center, matriculation number 570814 13 5479 001. First one is introduction. Before I go to the introduction, I'm going to talk about effective job interview for the recruitment of talented Gen Y, also known as millennial. Millennial means those who are born between 1980s to 2000. This generation are highly educated, tech-savvy, entrepreneurial, self-aware, and confident. What is interview? When you split the word interview, you get two words, inter and view. This roughly translates to between view of or seeing each other. Or other words, a conversation with a job applicant who is called the interviewee and a representative of an employer who is called the interviewer. So interview is a means to select the best candidate for a post. Next one is the types of interview. There are several types of interviews. The first one is called non-directive interview, which is called an applicant has the freedom to give her opinion. Secondly, situational interview, where an applicant is given a situation or an event to which or she needs to respond. The third one is behavior interview. An applicant will be asked about his or her response dealing with specific circumstances. The fourth one is called structured interview. Structured interview contains a set of standard questions together with predetermined answers. So the fifth one is panel interview. Panel means is a group of interviewers which consists of 3 to 5 people who will ask questions and observe the candidate. So panel interview is a very high level of validity. And the last one is computer interview. Computer interview, the candidates are required to answer multiple choice questions, which consists about 75 to 125 questions that are related to the job. The aim of interview. There are several aims of interview. A job interview enables a company to learn more about an applicant, while the candidate has the opportunity to become familiar with the demands of a given position. Secondly, the aim of interview is the process allow both parties to exchange information, to ask questions, and evaluate the potential of establishing a professional working relationship. So the third aim of interview is to provide an opportunity for you and your potential employer to decide how well your skills aligns with the company's needs. And fourthly, it allows you to get better acquainted with prospective colleagues and obtain information to help you decide if the job is the right one for you. The next one is the objective of the interview. There are several objectives of the interview. Firstly, to appoint the best person for the job based solely on merit and suitability. Secondly, it helps to verify the information provided by the candidate. So meaning to say, when an applicant is being interviewed, his detail will be gathered. Third, the objective of the interview is to help to establish mutual understanding between the company and the candidate and to build the company's image. Fourthly, it is beneficial for the interviewer and the interviewee as individuals because both of them gain experience both professionally and personally. So the fifth one, the objective of the interview, it helps the candidate to assess his skill and know where he lacks and places where he needs improvement. So the next one with regard to interviews is getting the necessary documents. Meaning to say, when the applicants come over for the interview, he is supposed to bring all the documents that are required. Firstly, the copies of his resume, which should be printed out, copies of the most updated version of his resume. The next one, with regard to the documents here, is the educational transcript. A transcript is a documentation of a student's permanent academic record. The next one is references. Professional references like your former employer, your colleague, your teacher, an academic advisor, and also maybe your supervisor with their contact numbers. So meaning to say, the interviewer or the employer will refer to any of them as your reference. So the fourth one is the driver's license. So this is also a necessity. If you don't have any driving lesson, you can go out and to perform your other duties. So the fifth one is a portfolio. A portfolio is your passport either in a form of folder or binder or even a website shown on your tablet. So the next one is the employment certificate, where a certificate of employment is used to verify employment history of a former or a current employee. So that are the documents that are necessary if you go for an interview. So the next one is avoiding bias. What is bias? It is a questionless with interviewer. Bias can influence respondent in such a way that it distorts the outcome of an interview. So there are several procedures how to avoid bias. One, standardize the process where same question will be asked when questioned by the interviewer to the applicant. So the second one is Don't rely on memory. So whatever has been spoken on your conversation, you have to note it down. So that's why you don't rely on your memory. Thirdly, use a rubric. This is to evaluate potential jobs applicants. Fourth, justify your decision. This is to avoid falling into the trap of cognitive bias. Fifth, you have to get input from others. So you want to receive feedback from others to add to the data you already collected, not to impact what you have collected. So meaning to say, the feedback from others will not influence what you have taken or what you have collected, the data during the interview. So the sixth one is do a phone screen first. Why? This is to minimize the influence of effective heuristic bias or non-verbal bias. Because when you do phone screening, you don't face to face with the applicant. So the next one is, don't be the only interviewer. So at least you have to bring 3 other interviewers. So that is how to avoid bias during interview. The next one and the last one is the conclusion. The candidate interview is a vital component of the hiring process. Human resource professionals and hiring managers must be well equipped or well informed on how to conduct interviews effectively. So from the view of the interviewer, he may ask, can I do or she do the job? Is he or she willing to do the job? Will he or she fit for the job? So that one will be a question from the interviewer. But from the job applicant, he might have to say, can I do the job? Do I want to do the job? How does this position fit into my overall career plan? So that's the end of my briefing on interviews. Should you have any other question, you can ask me. Any question that I can answer, I will answer. And if there's any question that I can answer, I will refer to my superior. Thank you. Per minute.